Macho Man Randy Savage. And I'm inviting you to come see me and to get it straightened out all in one night, yeah.
Well, cool, man. I'm excited about this. It's nice to finally meet you, even though we can't meet in person right now.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
World's a little crazy, so.
Yeah, a little crazy. That's putting it lightly. So this is the famous When I'm Dead podcast, and it's where we talk to artists about what they do, their journey, and what they do to be successful while they're still above ground. So I want to start with some stuff just right away to get it off, clear the air and stuff. So yeah, obviously that's not a great name for a podcast right now. I picked that name because it's just, I found a podcast actually that was called Bad at Sports. Yeah. I thought that was pretty funny for artists. And so I wanted to name it something that, that only artists say. So just want to get that out of the way. First thing really is, or the second thing is that I want to interview you because I heard about you on Ali's podcast, and then I looked up your work and I was like, damn, I can't believe I haven't heard of this guy, because your work is awesome. So, so I'll just introduce my guest here, Torren Thomas. Amazing illustrator, caricature artist, and I was doing some research on your Facebook page, and you're just a Kansas City guy all the way, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in Kansas City physically. I'm probably about 45 minutes outside of it.
Oh, okay.
But I've lived in the Midwest my entire life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you traveled at all?
Not a whole lot. Like, I've had to go a couple places for work, and, I've been on one or two vacations, but it's mostly just been between Kansas and Missouri. Yeah. That's where I'm from.
Cool. So, I just want to talk about, maybe we can start off just by getting to know each other a little bit. I'm also from St. Louis, and I also grew up kind of outside of the city. And then a couple years before I moved away, I live in Prague now. A couple years before I moved away, I lived in the city. I lived downtown, and then I got married and moved here. My wife and I kind of just decided to start a new life in Europe. So I got my journey in caricature pretty late. How did you get started? What kind of got you into the when did you know you were going to be an artist, or how did that whole thing start?
As far as me knowing I was going to be an artist, that's kind of been one of those forever, since I was a little bitty kid.
Yeah.
So I've been drawing since probably about the age of 3. I always tell people my mom tries to take credit for it, because she used to color with me in coloring books and stuff like that. So she says that's why I do it, but that's her. But as far as caricature specifically, what happened was, after I got out of college, I was kind of just working a regular job, still drawing on the side. I started getting into this guy named Justin Bua. His work was kind of exaggerated, so I kind of started trying to do stuff similar to that without knowing what I was actually doing.
I've never heard that name.
Yeah, Justin Bua is a really, really great urban artist. He's one of his favorite paintings is he's got this DJ, and he's working a turntable in his basement, and there's all these albums on the wall. That's one of my favorite paintings. But that's kind of what got me in it. But it's really exaggerated, and if you look him up, you'll see what I'm talking about. And so I started trying to do that, and then I was doing portraits all the time. So then I started trying to do portraits the way that Justin Bua was just doing his, paintings.
How do you spell that? Justin what?
BUA.
Okay, so cool. I'll put a link to that in the show notes.
Yeah, and I was just completely winging it. Like I was taking pictures and putting them in Photoshop and using the warp tool to like just make them look all nutty and then try to draw that. That's
Cool.
how I was doing it. And then, from there I found out like, oh, this is an actual art form. Because I'd had a caricature done at like Disney World before, but I never thought anything about it.
Yeah.
And then, I found Tom Richmond, and, from there I found Jason Seiler, and that's when it really started.
Okay.
Is when I found him, and then I found out that not only did he do caricature, he taught it, and I took the class, and it's been on since then.
Where did you take the class from?
Schoolism.com.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm doing a class right now with Nathan Fox.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know his work?
I'm familiar with him. Yes. Schoolism is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I went to 5 years of college, and I think I probably learned just about as much in the 9 weeks with Jason as I did in those 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to level up as an artist, like all the young artists out here, definitely give Schoolism a shot. Like, just look into it. I'm not saying you have to do it, but it's worth the money.
Yeah. For those of you who already don't know Schoolism, like you can pay a subscription of like $30 a month, or you can pay like for a one-on-one. Well, yeah, I guess it is kind of one-on-one with the teacher. So did you do the one-on-one thing, or did you?
When I did it, there was no subscription. It was just $1,000 straight up for 9 weeks. And
that's kind of daunting. Like, did you just say like, oh well, college costs more than that, or like, how did you justify that?
I talked to my dad and was like, "Can I please borrow this $1,000 from you? Because I would really like to do this." I'd already went through the college tuition and dealing with all that stuff, and when I came out of college, it wasn't like I thought it was going to be, where like I just immediately had a job and everything was sweet. It was not that. So I decided not to quit being an artist, and my parents saw how dedicated I was, so they let me borrow the money.
Nice. Did you go to school for arts or?
Yes.
Cool.
I went to the University of Kansas, and I have a degree in visual communications.
Oh, cool.
And like an emphasis on illustration.
Cool. Yeah, I have to agree with you, man. Like, and I looked at a lot of schools, and I was dating an opera singer actually that she was an opera student, and she was going to this school. And so I decided to take the leap and go to this like private art school, and it was like a pretty bad decision.
Yeah.
Because like I still have a massive amount of debt, and I don't regret it, because I got definitely some good experiences, and I'm still friends with a lot of the people today. I think the biggest thing for me is like they had a scholarship thing where like I was able to study abroad and live abroad. So I studied in Vienna, and then I traveled a bit in Italy, and that totally changed the game for me. So I don't regret that, but as far as like technical learning, it's funny that you wouldn't think that, but I learned more being a caricature artist and stuff like Schoolism than I did in art school.
Yeah, it's the same way. I felt like I had really good teachers, two in specific, Dick Varney, Barry Fitzgerald. They were really good teachers, and they kind of looked out for me a little bit even after college. But as far as the technical side of it, like actually learning this is how you do this, that I got way more after school than in it.
What did you like? Did they have any courses in there to kind of like help you launch when you got out, or what was the curriculum around that?
Kind of. Granted, this is back in like 2005, 6 that this was going on, but the one that I really remember, well, there's more than one. One is you had to like illustrate just various ideas. Like I had to illustrate a phobia, and they would give you stuff like that. And so those kind of like put you in the right mindset of like, here's how you have to deal with an illustration job. Like, they're not going to tell you exactly what they want all the time. You're going to have to get something kind of vague and then pull something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was you had to put together this book, and it was a semester-long project. And, you know, you had to come up with your own theme, and you had to get the book printed and bound and all this other stuff. And just like that, the idea behind working on something that long and turning it into like a cohesive project, that kind of helps with the like when you actually become an illustrator and you actually have to work for a long period of time to get something done. Like, I just always remember doing that project. And another one I remember is like for my first week of school, it was a weed out project to see who could do it. You had to draw 200 fish, and they all had to be different, and you had to do it in 2 days. And it was just one of those things where it was like, who was really dedicated enough to do this and not be like, this is stupid, we're just drawing fish. Because that type of work ethic where like you stay up all weekend just drawing cartoon fish over and over again and making sure that each one is unique, that is a big part of being a professional illustrator.
So did that happen like when they were choosing who was going to get into the program?
That was just more like who's going to make it through the program. Because you could tell who was like, okay, I'm not built for this because 2 days and I have to draw all these fish. And, you know, a lot of people got it done, but there's a handful that didn't.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just kind of like a gut check, like this is how it's going to be.
Huh. And so that's what you do full time now, right? You're full-time freelance?
I'm not even full-time freelance. I actually work for a company that makes casino games. I do art for them.
I have a friend that does that, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. And I do art. I do freelance on the side.
Okay.
So I kind of both.
So is it like a half and half thing for you, or freelance?
Freelance, I try to only do stuff that, like, it's either people I've been working with for a really long time, or if somebody brings me something and I think it's really cool, I'll get on it. Cool. But thank God I'm not financially strapped to where I have to do any and everything that comes across my plate. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at with it now.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you about the illustration thing because I'm looking for a way to take on some projects right now because my business is totally caricature, and this year it was like the best year. Like, it's been growing every year, and so this year we were like ramping up to have like an awesome year. Like, we were contacting all these companies, we were like setting up these corporate events and stuff. And then, you know, coronavirus hit and it just totally like killed the business completely. So I was thinking like, man, I don't want to take a job in sales because that's the only other experience that I have, and I don't want to sit inside an office all day and like take sales calls. So what can I do? So I have like a big portfolio of studio caricatures that I've done, but man, it's like only caricatures, you know. So I'm like totally limited. So like, do you have any advice for like getting into illustration or like getting clients or anything like that?
What I would probably say, like, is for one, it's difficult to do because, like, I'm not going to pretend like, oh, I'm, you know, overflowing with illustration jobs. Like, you kind of just got to put your work out there and network with people because it's just as much about who you know as what you can do. So if you're talented, that's awesome. But if nobody can see you, it doesn't matter as much. And like, I still deal with that. Like, you had never heard of me until I did Allie's podcast, but I had been doing work for like 5 years before that. And so it's a problem not only for me, it's a problem for a lot of people because there's so much out there. Because I would say put yourself on social media. Everybody has social media. Yeah. So it's like you kind of got to network. Don't be scared to talk to artists. I remember there was a point in time when I was about done with doing this because I was struggling with it so much, and I just literally said F it, and I started calling. I called and I talked to Tom Fluharty. I talked to Tom Richmond. I talked to Mike Thompson, who's a good friend of mine now. I talked to Jason, who's a real good friend of mine now. Like all these artists that I'd seen that I respected. Court Jones is another one I talked to. I think I might have talked to Glenn Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are all caricature artists and artists that I have a ton of respect for. And I was like, look at my stuff. Do you think I can do this? And every single one of them said yes. And so that's why I didn't quit. And you know, once you get that kind of confidence and you start making the connections and just keep pumping your work out, I think it'll eventually come.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, right now I'm working on a visual development portfolio, and I'm just working, like, the class that I'm taking right now is environmental design. But yeah, I think I'm probably going to have to take a job doing something. But I want to get a job, and this is also like an advice for artists who are starting off too, is that getting a job that like doesn't take too much energy, so it leaves you energy when you come home to work on your portfolio or do something else, is one strategy that a lot of artists use. Like for me, like I'm way overqualified to wash dishes, but if I could find a dishwashing job right now, I would take that because I'd be happy to get out of the house and like do something and then come home and like have energy, like the mental and emotional energy for my portfolio.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been on that grind for sure. I got out of college in 2007, and I didn't get my first full-time art job until 2011, almost 2012. And so that was, 4 years of working a regular job, coming home and doing art at night. And honestly, what I was doing was I had a network operations job where I worked at a cable company. And my job for a lot of the time when first I started off as a telemarketer and then I moved into a network operations. And I was
too.
supposed to,
was that your first job?
That was my first like real full-time job.
Oh man, high five. We're the telemarketing scum of the earth.
I worked in a call center at the cable company, and I got yelled at by people because their TVs didn't work right and they didn't know what they were doing. Okay. So that's how it started. But then I moved into network operations, and I was supposed to just monitor everything, like make sure there was no like weird pixelation in channels, or when like cable went out in a certain area, I would have to call the technicians that worked and be like, hey, you need to go over here. But that job, it was a hurry up and wait job. 90% of the time, nothing was broken. So I'm just sitting here. So I brought paper. I brought my laptop when I got my Wacom tablet, and I was drawing at work.
Nice.
So I was paid to do paintings and then do this monitor stuff on the side, because it would be easy to put the pen down, dispatch a tech over here to go fix whatever some squirrel got in a cable node and fried up something, or it's an ice storm and cable line's down and I got to tell them where it's at and go fix it and go right back to doing what I was doing.
So your boss was cool with that, huh?
Yeah, like as long as I did the work, and I was still answering phone calls of people in other departments. They would need to know like, hey, what's going on with this channel, or this person needs this done to their account for their phone. There was a lot of different parts that I was involved in, but they wouldn't be constant. You'd have a lot of downtime. So I just started drawing during the downtime.
That's good.
So
yeah, that's great.
You can find stuff like that where, you can bust out a little sketch pad and just, try to level up a little bit.
Yeah. So it took you like 4 years. You had that job like right after you graduated?
I actually had that job in the cable company while I was in college.
Oh, okay.
So after I graduated, I just kind of stayed there and just tried to live for a little bit, just try to be quote unquote normal. I was deciding if I was going to be an artist, or if I was going to try to go back to school and do something different. Mm-hmm. And I decided to stick with the art.
Nice. So now, what about the video game or the gambling game thing? Because I have a friend who does that, and yeah, it seems to pay pretty well. It seems to do pretty well for him. Like he seems to like it. He's got some creative license. Like how how much of your own style or your own ideas are you able to put into that?
Actually, it's quite a bit. Like it's a little bit of give and take. Where there are times within the industry where it's very clear that something is super popular, and that's where they want to aim you.
Mm-hmm.
Like probably I want to say 2017 and 2018. I think I made absolutely nothing but Asian themed slot machine games. Like every single thing I did had like a dragon or a tiger or something, like every single one of them, because that was super popular.
What do you think made that popular with gamblers?
I don't know. I don't know what about those things. It draws people in, and the way the industry works is like they're really trying to just get money. If something is popular, they're like, okay, this game is doing super well. Let's do something just like it.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so there's a lot of trying to beat people at their own game. So if this company over here has something that's really popular with the dragon, we're going to do our own twist on that and take your customers.
Yeah.
And if we take your customers and it becomes popular on our end, we're going to do the sequel to that.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of snowballs and then turns into where like you spend long periods of time doing the same stuff over and over and over again.
Huh. Yeah, I just had a flashback of all these pinball games that I liked. Like we have a bar in St. Louis. It's it's called the Silver. Yeah, the Silver Pinball or something. But yeah, it's just all these old retro games. So what's popular now? Like
lately, I have been doing just a little bit of everything. I feel like we might be coming close to a point in the industry where things are starting to open up and we're going to see what's happening, especially with all this COVID stuff going on.
Yeah.
Where literally every casino, I think, in the world had shut down for at least a month or so.
Wow.
And so now we're getting to where we're opening stuff back up. Vegas is I think either already open or going to be open soon. A lot of places in like Oklahoma are starting to open back up. So I think the plan for everybody is it's kind of like a soft reset. Like we're going to let people go back into casinos, see what they gravitate towards, look at numbers, see what's popular, and then just get the ball rolling again with that.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be it'll be fun in one aspect because I think for at least 6 months to a year there's gonna be this influx of like experimentation because we're gonna be putting so much new stuff to try to grab people who haven't been to the casino and were like itching to get back in, or people who didn't realize they missed it till they couldn't go, and so now they're gonna hop back in and we're gonna see what they like, and it's gonna be a lot of just putting out new stuff and seeing what people enjoy and then going from there.
Yeah. So what does your day look like? Like, I guess I have kind of like two questions in one on this one. Like, what does your day look like, your work day or your workflow look like? And then like, what do you enjoy doing in your free time? Because I know like for me, like when I was doing caricatures live, like I would do caricatures live and then I would come home and paint. So it's like, It's like almost all I was interested in.
I'm similar. Like the typical day, like I'll get up, I'll check my work email, might talk to my art director for a second, see if he needs anything. If not, I will start working on whatever games I have on the plate for my job. I kind of develop the ideas. That's my role in my company is like, I just kind of try to come up with, stuff that might make a cool game. So I'll end up having to do research and, find objects and stuff that I want to paint, and I'll do that for about 8 hours or so, and then after that, I'll do caricatures for myself, or I'll do freelance, like I'll do T-shirt designs for people, or a handful of people I've just painted their kids and stuff, or just for fun. Just like I'll work on that.
Huh.
And then in the free time, like I'm a big movie guy, a big video game guy, and then just hanging out with my family and just like my little circle of friends. That's about it.
So with the development of these ideas, are you like how do you go about that? Are you just making sketches and you're just Googling images and
it kind of changes from game to game, but normally if you're gonna do something that's super themed, or like if you're pointed in a direction like, hey, we need Asian game, you're gonna start Googling things that are, kind of like related to wealth and luck and, positivity within the Asian culture. So you're going to start doing research around stuff like that, stuff that's appealing. And like, that's I won't say it's difficult, but it's one of the things you have to be cognizant of. You want to make sure you don't do anything that's going to accidentally offend someone. That's one of the things you always have to kind of keep your eye on. Because, I mean, obviously I'm not Chinese. So I got to be careful.
Could have fooled me.
Yeah, something that I think is cool. And, my American brain might not fly well over there. So I have to, that's where the research comes in. Where it's like, okay, I need to make sure that this isn't offensive. This isn't going to, offend a certain sect of people. Because you want to just bring people in and make sure they're cool with everything and make them spend money.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole research process. And then, it's just sketches. Talk to your art director. He likes it. He doesn't like it. He likes it, but change this. And then you're kind of off to the races. And I just kind of check in every couple of days and show what I'm doing.
So what about your portfolio? Like, what did your portfolio look like generally, let's say, like when you were looking for those jobs? Like, did you put it on ArtStation, or how did you, like, apply for that kind of work?
How I got into that work was in, I think, 2011, a company that was developing a poker app saw my caricatures.
Where?
And they wanted on, I think it was Facebook.
Oh, okay.
It was either Facebook or DeviantArt.
Oh, yeah, I remember DeviantArt.
Potentially both. Yeah, and one of the guys who was, I think he was an art director, and he was also doing UI design. He reached out to me and was like, hey, we're making this poker game. We'd love to, work with you. Can you, help us out, do this, and let's talk. So I spoke to the guy, and I was still doing my, network operations job, and I started doing it freelance. They were just paying me per character.
Yeah.
And then I decided, I was like, look, what about giving me a job? And they're like, definitely. So I quit my network operations job, and I started making these poker characters, these avatars, just full time.
How did you feel in that moment? Were you like totally ready to jump in? Like you were itching to jump in?
Yeah, like I remember feeling like I made it, like I did it.
Yeah.
That was like I finally got I'm getting paid full time to be an artist. Like
Nice.
There's no on the side. I'm not working anywhere else. Like I'm strictly an artist. Like I felt like I had made it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that led to other people seeing that I did, these poker avatars, and they wanted poker avatars. And so I did that for other people while, doing freelance and stuff for a few years. And then that turned into me doing a game, like a casino type game for these guys I met from Canada. And then that just turned into, the company I work for now is hiring. They saw that I did all those other things. They're like, well, maybe we can do this too. They gave me a shot, and I've been there for almost 5 years.
Wow. And that's been good. You're like full-time employee. They give you the benefits and the whole deal, huh?
Health benefits, and excellent company to work for.
Nice. Yeah. And that's a Canadian company?
No, the company I work for now is actually, it's based out of Australia.
Oh.
But excellent company. Like if you go to a casino, and like you're guaranteed to see a game that they make because they're like the biggest company in the world.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of those. But yeah, so I work for a studio underneath them.
So what about let's talk a little bit about like artistic development, because I had personally like sort of a swerving path with that. Like I said, I went to school, and the main thing in that school was conceptual art.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't give me a lot of draftsmanship experience. And then when I left, I started sculpting. I was doing head casts, and mainly like heads and hands, and then I would make sculptures out of that. And I was using a lot of like actual skeletons with other type of work. So it was kind of a lot of stuff about like death and emotion. It was like really kind of deep work. And then when I moved to Prague, I started doing caricatures, like totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, like the commitment that I made to caricature um, really like forged a path for me to like get better as an artist. So that's been like 6 years now, and I think definitely I've grown the most in the last 6 years as an artist. And it comes from just drawing constantly all the time, and also
Mm-hmm.
taking like a lot of these online courses. But I still got a long way to go. But when I look at your work, it's like I can definitely see the Jason Seiler influence. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I learned actually caricatures from Tom Richmond, so we have kind of like the same
Oh, nice.
influence there. I learned from his book. Um, I kind of like self-taught from that book. But
Mm-hmm.
what has been your experience with that, and like what are the things that you do to constantly improve and get better? And like what are the things that you've done that you've seen like big leaps in your improvement? Because your work is like phenomenal, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just kind of doing it all the time. Like he said, like you just kind of gotta just beat on it, and all the stuff that people see that I've done that they enjoy. Man, if I could show you all the stuff that is just garbage that I've done that I
Yeah.
don't show anybody. So that's kind of the only real path to it that I know is just doing it all the time and kind of failing in certain aspects and just practicing in general.
Yeah.
And seeing another thing that I think people should do is like just like look at people that they respect and then like just straight up spiel for them. Like I can't tell you how much stuff I've taken from Tom and from Jason and from other artists like my friend Mike Thompson. I've seen stuff and I'm like, okay, I've tried to reverse engineer so much of their work. It's ridiculous. And what it ends up doing is in that study of reverse engineering, you develop your own thing.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
I don't look like Jason Seiler because I tried to figure out Jason Seiler and I became something else trying to figure him out.
Yeah.
And so that's how it's going to work for somebody else. Somebody's going to see something I did. Like, I'm going to try to figure out how he did that. And in trying to figure that out, they'll find their own thing.
Yeah.
That's the advice I would have for anybody trying to develop. It's cool to just like admit that you like this person and start off trying to be like them and then branch off.
Yeah. Yeah. What about that? Like about the style that you developed? Like, um, when did you kind of know that it was your own thing, or when did you start to see like the pattern of your work at like separating from Siler or someone else that's like a heavy influence for you?
It's hard to say because I mean I know I have my own style, but I don't feel like it's developed to the point where it's like that's it. This is my thing. Like I'm still growing and changing and trying to do new stuff all the time. But as far as when I felt like it separated from him, I can't really pinpoint an exact moment. It's just one of those things that happens because me and him are both, and not just me and him, me and everybody. We're both doing different stuff all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
he may go left over here, and I may go right over here, and so it just naturally the paths wind and they go further because he's still trying to grow as an artist. Like as good as he is, he's not done,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm definitely not done either. So that's I think it's natural. So even if you start off like if I was trying to be exactly like him, I think it would be impossible to maintain it
Yeah.
because the jobs he takes are going to require him to do things over here, and the jobs that I get are going to require me to do things over here, and there's no way we can stay on the same path even if we tried.
Yeah, that's the one of the great things about being an artist, and I've noticed this even just being a live caricature artist, is that because even though you're doing the same thing, like in your case, you're like sitting down doing digital stuff, and I'm on the street doing like marker and art sticks. Like we're doing the same kind of thing every day, but each person is different and each project is different. So we're challenged like every time someone sits down or every time you get a new project. And that's cool to be able to get paid to practice, like get paid to grow and get better.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it is.
Yeah. Speaking of that, are you doing any traditional stuff or do you do all digital?
I haven't done a traditional painting in years, and I don't know. I don't really have an excuse why I haven't. I just have not done one in the longest time, and I probably should.
It's funny because anytime I talk to an artist that like hasn't done traditional work in a while, they're like, "Oh man, I should definitely go back. Like there's almost this guilt for not doing traditional."
It's because, and part of it's like when I was in college, I was so dead set against this digital stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I just thought it was like cheating, and my friend Sam, shout out to Sam, he talked me into like, no, this stuff is cool. And when I first got my first Wacom tablet, I remember sending him an email like, okay, dude, what do I do with this thing? Like I got one for Christmas and I didn't know what to do with it, and so he told me all the basics and just kind of gave me a little tutorial and some stuff, and then I kind of like oh, this is awesome, and I don't have to be covered in paint. It's like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. Are you
keep it going?
So you're using the big Wacom now?
Yeah, I got the 32.
Yeah. Man, I have one sitting right next to me that I can't use because I don't have the adapter for it. And I've like ordered it 2 different times and I've gotten the wrong one twice. So
that's like, rough.
Yeah, and it's going back to my friend who works on games pretty soon anyway. So I'm just working on the iPad. Do you use an iPad at all?
I have a Cintiq Companion.
Okay.
And I use that every now and again, but I'm actually looking into purchasing an iPad Pro and a pencil this year, so I'm going to give that a shot.
So you're not doing live caricature anymore then, huh?
No, I've actually never done live caricature.
Oh, really? Okay.
Never done it.
Are you an ISCA member?
No, right now I'm not.
Okay.
I actually was just a guest speaker and made a bunch of friends.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, I know so many people in it. I probably should be, honestly. I need to get back like that. Because I just had me speak a few years ago, and everybody was awesome.
Cool, yeah. Yeah, you would do well, man. You would definitely, you'd probably win some stuff in that big competition.
I was there, and I took part in it, and it was really cool. I've never experienced anything like that. Like, being in that room and there's literally like 200 people just drawing all night long.
Yeah.
I've never been a part of anything like that.
Actually, that was the first time that I realized, like, I knew that people made money as artists, but because I went to the like fine arts school, I thought like, oh, you're a gallery artist, or maybe you like work for a company as some kind of designer, but I didn't like, that was the first experience that I had where I was like, whoa, I could just draw caricatures and that could be my career. Like, I just never, like, I don't know. It made it real for me,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. Well, hey, I want to look at a little bit of your work. I'm actually going to pull it up because I have it. Let me see. All right, so I have it kind of like, I'm doing a screen recording, so it's kind of like covering up our faces right now, but I'm going to put it over the screen recording. And maybe you could pull it up. I'm on your ArtStation page right now. I don't know how recently that's been updated, but there's a lot of awesome work on there.
That one's not updated. What's most recent is my website.
Oh, well, I tried to go to your website and it wasn't opening.
Really?
Yeah, let me try again. So it's just it's your name, right?
No, it's Torren278.com.
Yeah, I want to ask you, what's up with the 278?
Okay. I've told this story a couple of times. Basically, everybody has, like, first name, last name, art.com. And I got a unique first name. So I figured it's unique enough to where I can just go by Torren and not have to throw the Thomas in there. And so I cut the Thomas off. And then the 278 is if you look at the keys on a phone and they have the ABC associated to each letter, 278 spells out R.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, that works. I thought it was like an area code, or you were like repping an area code or something.
No, just try to be different.
All right, cool. So, my last name is King Davis, so that was my attempt to be different. My wife and I were both artists, and we thought, well, let's just go ahead and make a new name. Yeah. I wish we would have put a hyphen in it, though, man, because her last name was King, mine was Davis, and we actually changed our last name to King Davis without a hyphen, but it's like every time I give it to an administrator, I have to explain it, and people always spell it wrong, or they put a hyphen or a space or whatever. Cool. So I am on your portfolio page right now. If you want to go to that, we could like look at the same images together and talk about it.
Sure.
You got a couple of pages here.
Yeah, there's a few.
I like your Questlove one. That one's really, really dope.
Thank you.
Is that you as a zombie? Is that a self-portrait? Zombie
yeah.
That's pretty badass, man. You like zombie movies?
I'm a huge horror movie fan.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I love horror movies.
What do you think about Peele? Is it Keegan Peele who's doing, or is it
Jordan Peele?
Jordan Peele.
Yeah. Big fan. Big fan.
He's good, man. He's dude. I love Key and Peele. That show is so fucking funny, man.
Oh yeah, that was one of my favorites. I was actually shocked at how good he was at horror because I've only known him as a comedian.
Yeah, but they always have like a weird twist at the end, like some horrible weird thing. So I think it comes through a little bit in the comedy.
Yeah, like I was just kind of shocked how good Get Out was.
That was really good. I like your Biggie. All right, so are you on your front page?
Yeah.
Which one are you looking at now?
My stuff, it kind of like rotates through. So if you click on one of them, it'll blow it up big, and then you can just kind of scroll through each one if you want.
Well, let's look at the. Where's the man? It's so photorealistic. It's crazy. All right,
you can just tell me which one you're looking at, and then I'll go to it.
Yeah, I'll just pick one right off the top, like the NWA one.
Okay.
That song, Express Yourself, not like the original song, is probably one of my favorite songs. Mm-hmm. Man, I love the line, like, let me see if I can remember it. It's like, it's not what you're doing when you're doing what you're doing. It's that you're doing what you're doing that you look like you're doing. I fucking love that. That's awesome, man. Yeah. And then, of course, they took it and blew it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let me move to... You're a wrestling fan, huh? Because I noticed you have like a lot of wrestling ones in here.
Oh, huge wrestling fan.
Oh, yeah?
Huge wrestling fan.
Is this... What does it say? Mac Man? Oh, Macho Man. Oh, yeah, Macho Man.
Yeah.
Dude, you got the feeling, too, in his like that oh, yeah.
Like, he's like his neck muscles, man. Like, anytime he does anything, it's like he's trying to take a shit. Like, no matter what he's doing, it's awesome. I was a big Macho Man fan as a kid. I was into wrestling like when I was super little for just like a little bit. Like I caught like the tail end of like Hulkamania and Macho Man, and then I just fell out of it. And then when like Stone Cold Steve Austin stuff happened in the '90s, I've been a huge fan ever since.
Yeah, I always loved Macho Man. Yeah, I never totally got that into it, but my cousins were really into it, and they would always like wrestle and try to DDT each other and shit.
I can't explain what it is, why I like it. It's just one of those things that like once it kind of grabs you, you're in it. And I've been in it for 2 decades now.
Well, it's a caricature, It's like a live caricature.
Yeah, it's really just, for the most part, it's those people with their personalities turned up to like 10 to 15.
Yeah. Man, the John Wick one is sick too.
Thank you.
Man, how did you do those colors back there?
Let me see if I can find that one. This is like unfortunate that my website scrolls like this. Are you talking about in the background? Jeez, what's going on with my website stuff?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, because I know my process and my style is not photorealistic, really, but I really dig it, and I dig like the exaggeration in combination with that. Maybe someday I'll do something like that, but I guess I'm curious as to like how many layers you got going on, like what kind of blends, like what kind of blend modes that you're using for this. I mean, you don't have to tell me all your secrets, but it'd be...
No, I mean it's really not a secret. It's what's in Photoshop or Clip or Painter, whatever you use. Like it's really just kind of like painting stuff, and then like there's hundreds of layers on it, honestly.
Really?
Depending on what you do. Like some people don't like to work that way. I try to calm it down as much as I can, but honestly, I'll end up with some paintings will have 20 or 30 layers. Some will have 100.
Wow.
Yeah, like I'm one of those dudes that I'll make a new layer and do like 4 brush strokes and then make another one, and I don't know why.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
But like like I'll end up doing like have a normal layer and paint something, and then like I'll need to adjust the color, so I'll do like a overlay layer and get it adjusted, and then paint on top of that with another normal layer, and then need to darken something, so I'll add in a multiplier layer, and then paint on top of that with a normal layer, and then it just keeps building and building and building, and it turns into this monster.
It's awesome. Like, do you remember how many layers this John Wick one was?
I actually don't, and I don't think I have the raw Photoshop file anymore.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I'd open it up and tell you, but I don't think I have it anymore.
Have you been able to get your work into the hands of any of these celebrities? I mean, they have like a pretty big wall around them, but...
I actually haven't, for the most part. I don't know how people get that done.
Yeah,
like, I have friends who like have pictures with celebrities and stuff, and they're like holding their paintings, and it's like, how did you get to those people? How did you get to like this at a Kendrick Lamar concert, and you're like, yeah, I got this painting, let's go talk to him. Like,
they got to get like backstage passes, right? And then just
I have no idea.
Man, I met Mos Def when I was in Prague, and that was like one of the moments that I probably regret the most, because like he was right there, and there were a bunch of people. Like, this is the Czech Republic, so like hip hop means something else to Czech people, It's like, oh yeah, American hip hop. It's just like this American thing, But for me, it means like it's a lot deeper, and it's got a lot more like it's like much closer to me. And anyway, like this, everyone's taking photos, and Mos Def was like, you guys, he like stopped the show kind of, and he's like, you guys are like trying to, if you see a butterfly, like you enjoy the butterfly, you don't like grab the butterfly and try to stuff it in your pocket. He's like, that's what you're doing with your cell phones right now. He's like, put the cell phones down, And so like they didn't even understand his English, so they were just like, yeah, cell phone. And he was like, went right to the front row to this guy, and he's like, look, man, I'm gonna shake your hand. He's like, this is like, be in the moment, like I'm gonna shake your hand. And I was right there, and I could have like reached up and like shook his hand, but like the guy in front of me shook his hand, and I'm like, I kind of regretted not reaching out, because I was really there for the show. I wasn't recording, and I was like really, really digging it. But it was cool. It was still a good concert. He came in super late, and I think that he was like upset so much that like people were recording so much that like he only did like an hour, I think. So
yeah, because you got to think like those people are human beings too, man. Like you don't want to just like, you don't want to make them feel like a zoo, like they're in a zoo. Like
yeah.
So like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of like, I don't do any of this stuff. Like when I do people that I'm fans of, like I don't do it in order for them to like repost it or anything like that. Like I'm not looking for, you know, to try to like get clout from them. Like I just do it because I'm literally a fan.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like my hope is that they see it. Like I remember Ghostface Killah saw the Wu-Tang Clan painting I did,
Nice.
and just shouted me out on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was like, "That I'm done." Like you know what I mean? Like, all right, I made it.
That was enough.
Like, yeah, like he's like top 5 to me.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna.
So it was.
Was that recent?
It was. I want to think it was a couple of years ago.
Oh, so
it was
that's
a really weird thing because it actually happened because somebody kind of ripped me off.
Is it on your website?
The painting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's look at it.
Yeah, it's down in like the bottom left corner.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so
the whole you did like the whole.
Yeah, I did everybody.
Damn, that's sick, man. That's cool.
And so somebody had like redrawn it and posted it like they had came up with it.
Oh.
And I have had this painting stolen more times than I can count.
Dang.
Even today, like a friend of not even today, like a week ago, a friend of mine sent me a link to this painting on like facial masks.
Oh.
I don't know what it is about this Wu-Tang Clan painting. It has been stolen. I've seen it on shoes. It has been on backpacks, everything. And they like, I don't know why they don't just call me and license it. They got
because they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay you. That's why.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because like if you were to like, let's say that if you were to license that for like someone wanted to make 100 or like they wanted to make 1,000 masks like that, like what would you charge for that to license that?
It would be quite a bit because like it wouldn't be a crazy amount of money, but it would be. You always have to factor in that people are trying to make money off your basically blood, sweat, and tears in a way, and you need to charge for that. And that's one of the things that it bothers me that more artists don't realize what they're doing to themselves when they don't charge appropriately.
Yeah.
And I understand that some people are like, I'm just trying to get on, I'm trying to get noticed. So they do the whole I'll work for exposure or they'll lowball themselves. And what they don't realize is that they're bringing the industry down for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
I talk about that a little bit, and I do this other thing, like I call it Wednesday Wisdom, and I talk. I just released one about money, and I talk about that in there. That like your people don't respect you, basically, like they don't respect your work, and if and you're driving the price down for everybody.
Yeah. Like, artists really need to realize that there's not a lot of people walking this planet that can do what you do, and you need to be compensated accordingly for that.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing on this planet that isn't marketed through artwork.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
So and people don't even realize it. Like, every package in the grocery store, everything. All that's art. Like, it made this look like a picture on the Ritz cracker box. Yeah. Somebody designed that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like your potato chip bag. Somebody designed what's on there.
Yeah.
All that art. And so if you can do that, not everybody can. If you can do that, they need to compensate you accordingly because it's a skill.
So, 2,000? 5,000?
I mean, it really depends. Like, I try to be fair. I try to be fair to people because I know not everybody has, a boatload of money. And, so I try to, talk to the people about who they are, what they're going to do with it, the number, how many of these are you going to produce? Is it going to be limited edition? What are you going to be charging for them? Because if you're going to make $1 million, I want to make at least 250 grand or something. You know what I mean? Like, I want a fair slice of any pie that I'm involved in. That's all I ask.
So, have you done a lot of licensing stuff?
I actually haven't. I don't like to license my stuff
Uh-huh.
because I get particular about it, because in my brain, like, it's mine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more than willing to work for damn near anybody and create something for you, but I don't want to pimp my own stuff and give it to somebody else and let them do what they feel like doing.
Have you ever thought about putting stuff on products for yourself?
I have thought about it, but it always feels weird to me, because, like, I'll use this Wu-Tang Clan thing for example. Like, I don't think I would ever try to go and sell anything with this on it, because I have too much respect for all of them, and I don't want to try to get paid off their image.
Oh yeah, that actually brings up a good point, because I don't know where the line is on that. Like, I think that if it's a caricature, it's legal, but
Yeah.
if it's like, I don't know where that line is. It's too bad you couldn't contact them and ask them if they'd be cool with that.
Like as far as licensing, if they wanted to license it, like, if somebody from Wu-Tang Clan was like, we want to put this on, absolutely.
Man, if they saw this, though, I'm convinced that one of them would want to do something with it. It's just so solid, man. It's like the design, the composition, the lighting, the tone.
So if they wanted to do it, then I would absolutely do it in a heartbeat.
You hear that, Wu-Tang Clan? I know you're listening. I know you're listening to this podcast. Contact Torren. I'll put the contact info in the show notes. Hit him up.
But if it's like some sort of company, like, we realize Wu-Tang Clan is making a resurgence in popularity, we'd like to make a couple of dollars off of it. Not with my work.
Yeah.
No.
All right, let me jump back. Let's talk about maybe a couple more pieces. I want to actually talk about maybe a political piece, because they're really funny.
I'll go for it.
Yeah, let me do a little scroll through. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I wanted to find the Trump Skittles one was really funny.
I'm actually working on a new Trump piece right now.
Oh, I didn't catch it in time before it changed.
Yeah, the scroll on this is kind of weird.
Oh yeah, man, it's annoying. I don't know why.
Do some adjusting.
And I think I got it. All right, cool. Yeah. I remember when I first saw this one, man. I cracked up. It still makes me laugh.
There's gonna be a new one in a probably maybe by the end of the night. So.
I like what you did with the Skittles too, because it's like, you know, you got like different words in there. Sex.
Yeah. If you look in there, it spells out sexist jackass.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Just a little Easter egg, just, for people who are really, really paying attention.
What gave you the idea to put him with Skittles, though?
I wish I could remember what the whole scandal was. There's been so many things with this dude that I've, honest to God, lost track of them. But there was some scandal, like, right when he came in, and it had something to do with somebody talking about Skittles. And I was talking to a friend about it. I really wish I could remember what it was. That's how bad of a president this guy is, that I can't even remember all of the horrible things that he's done and said.
Yeah.
But, I was talking to my friend about this whole Skittle thing. He'll probably remember. I have to call him. But I was like, you know what? I got a good idea. And I'd actually been asked to be a part of this show in Chicago that was an anti-Trump art show. And they're like, we'll give you like 2 weeks, you do a piece. And it was just kind of like a protest against him because, I mean, he's a terrible guy. Like, I mean, if you support him, I know there's a lot of people who probably see this. If you support him, that's cool. I don't think you're a horrible person for doing so. But him, I'm not a fan.
No, I mean, I personally am not a supporter, but I think that there is like, I'm a person who is about principles above personalities,
Yeah.
and uh, man, one of my principles that I live by is honesty and like full disclosure of the truth. And on both sides, I see it with our political system, which is that like on the left, like everything's taken out of context, and on the right, everything's taken out of context, and like a lot of times there's like a conspiracy spin put on it, and it's like this idea, like this actually segues good into our next topic, which is that like everything is black and white, like you're with us or you're against us. People, a lot of people aren't realizing like that's dividing us, you know, like that's part of the divisiveness of the country. And of course we know that if we divide, we fall. So yeah, he's a jackass. Yeah, he says all kinds of stupid shit. Yeah, he's racist and you know, he's not presidential.
A bunch of things, yeah.
But there are like things that are taken out of context that is unfair. Even though I don't like the guy, even though I don't agree with what he's doing and all that, but like the principle of like, just a quick example, like there was one video where like he told this reporter like, "Shut up, you're a bad reporter. It's fake news," you know, like whatever, and so like on like the Daily Show, for example, I don't know if it was the Daily Show, it was one of those shows. They just showed that one clip, but then you go and watch the whole clip, and the guy is like basically asking like stupid, sort of harassing, insulting questions the whole time. And then all they did is take that one little clip and they like showed just that one clip. And it's like, okay, maybe he shouldn't have reacted like that. I agree. You know, he should be more presidential. He should have more control over his emotions or whatever. But at the same time, like, why didn't you show the whole thing? You know, like, can we just be open and honest? Like, why can't people make their own judgments? You know?
I mean, there's definitely media spin regardless of what network you're watching. And that makes things difficult because honestly, we've gotten to the point where I won't say across the board because I do think that there are good news outlets in the world that just want to inform people. But a lot of people are making a buck off sensationalism.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so much outrage in the world today because that's the thing. That's the soup of the day is to be pissed off.
Yeah. Well,
so
I mean, that's the algorithm, right?
Yeah.
That's what the social media algorithm, you know, is set up for.
Yeah, it's a thing. Like it's something that we're all struggling with. It's like I don't have the answers for that, but I agree. It's just the world that we live in where there's gonna be a spin put on most things. But with this guy, like you don't need the spin. Like he's just like I can't believe that this man was president. Like it blows my mind.
Well, this is the power of mass media manipulation, man. I mean, Cambridge Analytica. I'm sure you've heard about that company, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, they're the ones who they used big data basically to sway, and used Facebook and YouTube and Google search to sway like the opinions and sway the votes. But actually, I want to come out with something because I actually I forgot to mention this in the beginning. I wanted to talk about this in the beginning because this is kind of on topic. You know what? I'm going to start by pulling up the image. Let me see here. No, that's not it. Yeah, man, you got to change the scroll thing. It's annoying. Okay, there we go. So I have the picture of George Floyd up, and I actually when I read your post about the image that you put up, I had to be honest with myself about it because before this, I made a short little animation, like a Black Lives Matter animation about this. And actually, what happened is it came up in a conversation with my friend Chance, and I started to kind of criticize people who were like virtue signaling. And then I realized that I was doing it. And so I just wanted to come out and like be honest with it because I don't know. I just feel like I want to be transparent with it. Like I was making the animation and my first thought was like I gotta do something with my art um, to like support this guy, like this man who died. Like I should do something to like make an animation or make something that people can remember this guy by. I wanted to do something, and then as I started working on it, I realized like, oh yeah, this could get some likes, and then I started thinking about like my hashtags, like what hashtag I'm gonna put up, and then I started thinking like I can put this on TikTok, and when I read and I wasn't even thinking about it, and then when I read your post, I was like, oh shit, like I'm like trying to profit off of this guy's murder.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really know what to say about it after that. I just felt like I wanted to come out and say that and like be honest about that. And yeah, I wanted to bring up the topic. I wanted to talk about it because obviously, like this is what's going on in everybody's mind right now. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you want to even start with that, but any questions or anything, I'm here for it.
yeah, man, it is such a difficult thing to even come up with a question for because my black friends that I've talked to about it, they have different viewpoints and actually some viewpoints that I was like enlightened and also kind of surprised to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Oh shit! I got off that picture. Let me go back. Okay. So I guess like what do you have any advice for like uh, not that this is only an issue like a racial issue like you said it's like a human issue. Like, do you
Mm-hmm.
have any advice for not just like white Americans, but just people around the world of like what they can do to make a change with this?
Okay, I've been thinking about that a little bit, and it's a really, really difficult thing to answer. And what I will say is that there are levels to this. And so the first thing that everybody needs to do is you need to take a hard look in the mirror and you need to recognize where you are on the spectrum of acceptance of equality. Because there's certain people who are further along than others. So if you're one of these people that you want to scream all lives matter when you hear someone say Black Lives Matter, you need to take a hard look in the mirror and be honest with yourself as to why you think that way and what you're trying to get across. Second, once you take that hard look in the mirror and you recognize where you're at, if you recognize, say, for example, you don't know anybody from any other cultures, go and try to speak to someone that's different than you. Learn a little bit about them and let them learn a bit about you because that's where the humanity comes in. When you look at George Floyd instead of a black man as just a man, you will see why everyone is so outraged that he was murdered like a dog in the street. Because if you see him as a man, there are men in your family. You're a man. You have a father. You may have brothers. You may have uncles. You have grandfathers. You know what I'm saying? You will relate to it on that level. So that's the first thing you can do. Try to speak to somebody who is different than you get to know each other, bring down those walls of separation so we can get rid of the divisiveness. And make sure that this isn't the last thing that you do. Right now, because everybody's so upset and it's in the media, everybody is reaching out. Everybody is screaming Black Lives Matter. Everybody wants to, donate a little bit, which all those things are awesome. I want to see the same people kneeling in the street now. I want to see you in 6 months. I want to see you in 6 years. I want to see you in 60 years. I want to see your grandkids. I want to see, this is a lifetime of change for all of us. Mm-hmm. For your kids, for their kids. Like, this isn't going to be, to keep it art related, I don't want this to be the painting that you start and you don't finish. Mm. I'm not going to let people just push this off to the side after it's not in the media anymore, because that's what has happened. For a lot of people, at least it seems, I don't know everybody's minds and hearts, but it seems like George Floyd's murder was a first for a certain group of people. It's not the first for me. I have been hearing about this stuff and seeing this stuff for my entire life. And it has to end, man. Like, people, we all got to do better. And it's so layered and there's so many levels that it's hard to say, like, this is the exact path to walk. But the first thing you got to do is take a step on whatever path it is. Get the hate out of your heart. Stop justifying bullshit from the police, from anybody, politicians, whoever it is. If you aren't on the page of equality for everybody, I'm talking black, white, Asian, Latino, gay, straight, trans, if you ain't with that, you need to get your life together. And I'm going to say something to everybody who's watching this, because I'm dead serious about it. If you are not for equality for everyone, I do not want you as a fan. I know that may sound a little divisive, but I don't care, because that's how serious I am about it, because it needs to stop, man. Like, we can't be out here hating everybody. So if you have those types of feelings where, like, oh, I don't like this group of people because of this, just click past me, because I got nothing for you.
Yeah, one of the things that I watched, I was watching something, and one of the points that about inequality, and one of the points that they made was that, like, if everything stopped right now, like if all of it stopped and equality was accepted by everybody all at once, like, white people in America would still have a 300-year advantage over black people in America. And a lot of the thing that I was watching was talking about wealth, and basically like how wealth builds, and it builds over time through families, and they, it kind of like snowballs as it goes along, but black families haven't had that opportunity.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do about that gap. We can't really fix that gap. We can't time travel. So there's certain things like that, but we just can't do anything. Excuse me. What we can do is tear down that system that was built to benefit one group of people and leave others disenfranchised. That we can do. We can't fix the past, but we can fix the future. And I know there's probably going to be a lot of white people watching this. I want to let you know that we don't hate white people. I love everybody. I don't know, people who know me in person, I have 4 godkids. They're white. My best friend he's been my friend for almost 30 years. His kids call me Uncle Torren, and they're white. So we aren't mad at white people. We're just mad at a system that has been built to benefit white people.
Well, that's a daunting question of like how do we tear that down? Because when you look at the system, the prison industrial complex, redlining, all of these like institutional racism things that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Mos Def, he's got a great song about that. It's called Mathematics. If you haven't heard it, look that up for sure and listen
Mm-hmm.
closely to what he says. But man, like even when I think about it, it's like how do we even start? Like what do we even do to like tear that down?
That's gonna be really difficult, and I'm not gonna pretend like I have the answers, because I don't. And I don't. I like. I'm like you. I don't really know where we can start aside from the human issue. Everybody needs to start viewing people as human beings. Like I saw a lot of these posts where these people doing this quote unquote George Floyd challenge, and you're reenacting a murder. It was a murder.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's I saw probably about 4 or 5 of them, and they're smiling, and they got one dude laying on his stomach, and somebody else got their knee on his neck, and then they said the George Floyd challenge. All of you people should be ashamed of yourself. You're reenacting the murder, the assassination of another human being. If you looked at him as a human instead of what color his skin was, you probably wouldn't feel so great doing that. That's the first thing we can stop. And that's something that we can all do within ourselves. It's difficult to tear down systems, especially systems that have existed for hundreds of years, like you said. But everybody can take a look at themselves and realize, you know what, I've been wrong. I've thought this about this group of people, and I don't really know them like that. I don't really have that experience with them. Maybe I should check myself and try to put a little good into the world instead of walking around here with all these crazy thoughts about people that I don't really know. That's the only way that I know that we can start.
I think another thing, like another sort of like just way of thinking or like perspective for me, has drastically improved my life is just to like be honest with myself, and whenever I see something like a flaw in myself, like not to push it away, like I was saying with the TikTok thing, or the like me thinking about how I'm gonna get likes on this or whatever, thinking about how I'm gonna profit from this piece of artwork, um, like most people would push that away. Like they would rationalize that. And I did the same thing until I read your post, and then I'm like, oh shit. And then I realized it, So like being willing to be humble about your mistakes, and let's say like your shadow or your dark side, about like things that you might be thinking are motivations that you might have, that aren't pure and that are like selfish. And I think that's been a big growing point for me in this whole
because
thing.
you're a human. You have that dark side. You make mistakes. You are flawed, just like I am and just like everybody else. So that should be the basis for everything. Like, I mess up so I can understand when you mess up.
Yeah.
That's how we have to start looking at people. And as far as like profiting off of George Floyd and all these other people, like I understand the conflict, which is why I wrote about it, because I didn't even want to do this painting, but I felt like I had to to get the frustration out. And then even after I did it, I was talking to my mom, and she was like, "No, you should share it." And so I decided to share it, and it's people have been really receptive of it, and the whole key with me is like I just don't want any money.
Yeah.
I don't want to profit off of it. I'm cool with it being shared, and like it's gonna be. I think they're gonna try to put it in the ISCA magazine, and as long as it's there to spread awareness, and maybe get people to think I'm cool with it, but I don't want any money. I don't want to profit off of it. I just want to help people see, because I have fans, and maybe some of those fans had never thought about the plight of African Americans or minorities, period, because I'm not going to overlook how other groups of people have been treated. For example, I'm not happy about how a lot of my Asian brothers and sisters have been being treated recently because of this COVID stuff. Like they brought it here. That's bullshit. So there's a lot that needs to be addressed, but this is what we're on right now. And so I'm just hoping, that's why I came to grips with letting it be shared and, letting them print it and letting people put it on their Instagram and all this other stuff, is that hopefully that maybe someone who likes the art will look into why I made it and why I wish I didn't have to. And maybe it'll spark something, and then they're like, well, okay, maybe I have been wrong. Maybe I thought this about this group of people or that group of people, and maybe I need to check myself.
So I want to say something that my buddy Chance said, and I wrote it down because it was so pertinent to like what's happening right now, especially with the social media monster and like kind of how people I don't like using the word virtue signaling, but that's the only word like term that I can think of that makes sense right now. But so he said that a lot of people think that if our names aren't known, then our deeds don't matter. And his point was, when I asked him what I could do, about this, he said, just keep being who you are and standing up for what you know is right. And, if you see somebody, if you're in line waiting to order food and you see a white man cut in front of a black man, and then the guy behind the counter like serves the white man first, like say something, just like day to day, like what he was saying was like the thing that upsets him as a black man the most is like seeing like all that small shit day to day, day after day after day, all that little stuff where like he gets looked over because he's black, like he gets just those little social things that happen that people don't think are that big of a deal, but so they just don't say anything about it. He's like, that's how it stays alive. That's how that kind of like racist feeling stays alive, or that sort of superiority stays alive. So anyway, the reason I brought up that quote is because I wanted to ask you what you thought about the black screening thing. There's been like one guy who I kind of got into an argument with. He's another artist, because I guess I got into it because I kind of see his point, and I was really just trying to figure things out with this whole like posting the black screen up. I haven't put the black screen up because like I don't want to participate. Like I want to actually do something. Like I don't want to like put the screen up and be like, there you go, like I'm not racist, here you go, like here's the black thing, I agree with everybody, and there you go, I'm done, thanks, finished, it's over. Like I really want to do something, so I'm kind of conflicted with that. I've been going back and forth, should I put the black screen up, should I not? And like what he was saying was, he's a minority as well, but what he was saying was like, you don't know these people, like congratulations on like engaging with the black, or like discovering the black community as of last Thursday, like, so he's obviously really upset about like this virtue signaling kind of stuff. So I don't know, what are your feelings on that?
I agree with a lot of that, because I mean, forgive me if I pause, because it's a lot to kind of figure out on the fly what you really got to get your message out. But I agree with that, because there's a lot of different levels to it. And I agree with your friend, because you don't want to have this be the only thing you do. That's the only way I would have a problem with it. I'm cool with the black screen as long as you do more. You can't have the black screen be the only thing you do. You can't put that up and be like, all right, did my part. No, that's not enough. So if you want to put up the black screen, I'm with it. But I'm not with just doing the black screen. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, solidarity without works is dead.
Yeah, so yeah, like I just don't want that message out there. Like, oh, well, I changed my Twitter to a black screen, changed my Facebook to a black screen, and I did my part. Because we really do have to acknowledge the fact that that the word racist is like the N-word for white people. And they really do not want to be seen that way. And so there is a sect of people who will like, okay, as long as I don't feel like I'm racist, I'll do this, and like I'll be lumped in with the good people, and then I'm done with it.
Yeah.
We don't need that anymore. We don't need that. We're past that. We need real change, and it has to come from within first, and then we have to take that change and apply it to systems that are exist in this country.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way that I can see that we're going to get with it. And I understand the guy that she got into it with, because like I told you before, all this stuff isn't new to me, and it definitely isn't new to him. I'm sure he probably remembers the riots in '91 if he's a certain age, just like I do. I was 6. I'm 36 now. That's 30 years.
By the way, I'm just like 1 month older than you.
Oh yeah, nice.
You're March. What is it? March.
May 19th.
April, May. Yeah. Mine's April 18th. Same year. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, like that's 30 years of seeing this and having to deal with it, and everything that comes along with it. So I understand why he would be like, oh, now you're paying attention.
Yeah.
Now you want to come and speak with us when you didn't want to speak with us when they killed Trayvon, or when they killed Tamar Rice, or Alton Sterling, or Oscar Grant, or Sean Bell, Amadou Diallo. Amadou Diallo died in 1999. The cop shot him 41 times. He had his hands up. There were bullet holes in his underarms. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Nobody wanted to talk to us then. Kaepernick kneeled 4 years ago, and people weren't like, well, let's black out our Facebook. So I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, you don't want to knock people for honestly trying to participate and change. So I'm gonna co-sign the black screen, but I won't co-sign people who are only doing that.
Well, speaking of that, let's talk about you sent me the names of a couple of charities, which I will, are nonprofits, which I will put in the notes, or maybe I can put them right on the screen, and then you can click on the link in the notes if you want to do a financial contribution to that. Do you want to call them out now?
Before I do that, I'm not going to pretend like I'm a community activist,
okay,
or anything like that. These are just the charities that I know of that appear to be doing the right kind of work.
Okay.
Please do research and find your own. You don't have to donate to just these. You don't have to donate to these at all. These are just the ones that I'm aware of that appear to be doing the right thing as far as I know. So I know the Minnesota Relief Fund is supposedly doing things in Minnesota to directly benefit that community that was affected by George Floyd's death. And I know Until Freedom, they have been on the ground in Minnesota. They've also, been traveling all over the United States, fighting all of these different injustices at the, police brutality and everything like that. And then the Know Your Rights campaign, or Know Your Rights Camp, I believe, that's the charity that Colin Kaepernick started. So those are just 3 of many. Those are the ones that I know about personally that appear to be doing the right type of work. But please do your research, donate, contribute wherever you feel comfortable, and just take it from there. But do something. And
well, I want to cut in and say something real quick, because I think that there is something else that should be addressed before we move on, which is it seems to me that there's people that have so much of this feeling, like you said, that they don't want to be looked at as a racist, that they go too far with it. So it's that is also maybe not the right course of action. If you think that if you're a white guy and you want to show your support for the black community, probably not good to go and smash in the windows in that black community and participate in that riot to show your support.
like you just said, you need to take a measured approach to all of my, Caucasian friends and brothers out here. Take a measured approach to that. Do what you just spoke about a few minutes ago. If you see something in your community that you know is wrong, speak out against that. We need white people. We can't get this done with just us. I speak for black people, all minorities. We can't get the change done without y'all. We need you, because the people that, they don't have the respect for us obviously aren't going to listen to us. We can't cut through if you are already judging me just based on how I look. How am I going to get through to you if you can't even view me as an equal human being? So we're going to have people that look like them talk to them.
Yeah.
So if you got the racist uncle, or you got the homophobic aunt, or whatever, and we all got them. If you have that, talk to them. Like, I, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate everybody that's not of color, that is of color, coming and speaking to me, speaking to, their minority friends. I appreciate that more than you know. But what I need you to do is, after you talk to me, go talk to somebody that looks like you, that doesn't feel the way you do. Because I can't change them the way you can.
Yeah.
You can cut through them. They're going to look at me and they're going to see big black dude, tattoos. He's one of the bad guys. He's going to look at you like, oh, well, you're my nephew.
Yeah.
or you're my neighbor. We go to the same church. You'll cut through on a different level than I would.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you talking to me about that. And I didn't want to make it all about that, but I thought that we definitely needed to address that. So I really honestly wanted to talk to you because of I liked your work when I first heard about you. And then when I sent you the message, I saw on there like that I sent you a message and you didn't see it. It was like, maybe 5 years ago or three years ago. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, I messaged him because I remembered your work. So I wanted it to be more about like showcasing your work, but yeah, I thought that was important to talk about because like for me, like I'm feeling it. Yeah, I mean, I'm really separated from it in the sense that I live in Prague, but they're racist against gypsies here. I mean, that's the minority in Prague is the gypsy, and it's wide open, ubiquitous racism against gypsies. So it's all over the world,
We gotta end all of it. Like, we're focusing on Black Lives Matter right now, like on a global scale. But man, I'm not telling you that if you see somebody that's Latino get discriminated against, like, oh well, never mind because it's not black. No, you need to put a stop to that one too. Doesn't matter who it is, if they're gay, straight, whatever. Let people live, man. Like, we're all equal, and we need to remember it.
It's gotta take. I mean, each individual has to do it on their own level, but like on a larger scale, like that. I mean, that's all a lot of us can do. But on a larger scale, there should be a mass change because, when people are treated like criminals for so long, so many hundreds of years, like they're gonna act like criminals sometimes, So it's like a lot of that has to do with like the way, because I'm speaking now really about the gypsy population here because I've seen stuff out walking around like just outright disrespect from like some just little stuff like someone's like smoking in the place where you wait for the bus stop, and like someone says, hey, it says no smoking, and they're like, yeah, fuck you, like just, and it's, yes, that is disrespectful. Yeah, they definitely shouldn't do that kind of stuff. They really shouldn't like be that disrespectful. But you've been treating them like criminals for hundreds of years. Like it's a group effort. Like everyone has to when nobody puts their trust in you, like you're probably not going to be trustworthy. It's anyway.
It's a problem.
Yeah. I'm getting on my soapbox now. So, yeah, man, it's been like an hour and 45 minutes. So I try to keep it under 2 hours. So why don't we wrap it up a little bit? Is there something that you want to plug or something that you want to talk about?
I mean, I think we covered the really important stuff. Make sure everybody pay attention to the Black Lives Matter movement. Do your best to end, any kind of systemic racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, all of it. Let people live, man. Like,
live and let live, yeah.
Yeah, as long as they're not infringing upon you personally, let them rock out. Like,
yeah.
But as far as me personally, just, you can follow me on social media. I'm Torren Thomas or Torren278 on basically everything. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, I'll put your links in the comments below too.
Yeah, I try to be a nice guy. Like, if you have questions, whether it be about, some of this, the racial tension or anything like that, or you want to talk about art, I'm around. I'm not hard to get in touch with.
Cool. Do you have any? Do you sell any prints?
Every now and again, like I don't print up large batches and then just hold on to them. Normally, what I'll do is, like, if somebody wants a print, I'll have one custom made just for them and shipped out to them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
anything
pick one
on
of
here.
them.
Yeah, anything on here you want, I'm good. Aside from the George Floyd one.
Yeah.
I'm not selling that one.
Yeah. Well, Kelly, I talked to Kelly O'Brien. Have you met her?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, yeah, she's doing a thing where, like, if people donate to a charity, she's doing a caricature of them, like a quick caricature of them.
Okay.
And so they donate, they send the screenshot, like the receipt to her, and then she does a caricature of them, and she's like swamped, she's like,
yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what, I'll put the charity up on the link and we'll talk about it, but I can't take 500 drawings right now.
Yeah, I think I work too slow for all that.
Yeah.
I've been doing caricatures for the next 50 years.
They're dope though, man. Your stuff is really good. I'm gonna have to pick one of your prints for sure. I got a collection here of my favorite artists. So yeah, man, it's really great finally getting to know you, and it was a good discussion. I had fun, and we got pretty deep with some stuff. So I'm really happy with it, man. I want to do it again sometime.
Yeah, anytime, man. Let me know.
Cool. All right. So there you have it, everybody. Torren Thomas, check him out. All the links are in the show notes below. Subscribe if you want to watch more interviews, and yeah, see you next time.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Cool.